Greetings, seekers of knowledge and curious minds. Today, let us embark on a journey of contemplation that delves into the very essence of our decision-making, morality, and the profound influence of something we often take for granted: language. Imagine for a moment that the words you speak, the language you express yourself in, could hold the key to shaping your ethical compass and the judgments you make. Intriguing, isn't it? So, let's take a moment to ponder the question. Can the language we speak actually influence how we make moral choices? Language is more than a mere tool of communication. It's a vehicle that carries our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions across the vast landscapes of human experience. You see, there's a fascinating concept called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. This hypothesis suggests that language isn't just a passive medium of expression. It's a powerful force that shapes our cognitive processes and influences how we perceive the world around us. Think of it as the lens through which we view reality. The intricate dance of words, sentences, and metaphors isn't just about conveying information. It constructs the very framework of our thoughts. The famous linguist Sapir-Whorf proposed that language molds our mental schema, influencing how we organize our experiences, concepts, and ideas. But, as intriguing as it sounds, this linguistic influence doesn't stop at cognition. It extends into the realm of morality and ethics. Now let's ponder the notion of morality for a moment. How do we define what is right and wrong? How do we distinguish between good and bad actions, judgments, and decisions? As our world becomes more interconnected, we encounter new languages and cultures, each with its own set of moral values. But have you ever considered whether the language we adopt can influence the ethical choices we make? The intricacies of this phenomenon come to light when we explore the global landscape. Imagine standing on a footbridge above a railway track, faced with the classic moral dilemma known as the trolley problem. Do you push one person off the bridge to save 5 others? It's a thought experiment that reveals the complexities of moral decisions. But here's where it gets truly intriguing. Recent research by scholars like Boaz Kesar and Sayuri Hayakawa suggests that when we think and express ourselves in a language that is not our native tongue, something remarkable happens. We become less emotionally connected and more analytically detached from our decisions. It's as if the language itself creates a cognitive distance, prompting us to approach our moral choices with a different perspective. Friends, what if I told you that the language we use could even influence our perception of intentions and outcomes? What if the words we choose to describe a situation subtly shaped how we weigh ethics? As we journey together through this exploration, we'll uncover empirical studies that shed light on these thought-provoking questions. So, my fellow seekers, let us embark on a philosophical voyage through the depths of language, cognition, and morality. As we navigate this uncharted territory, remember that every word we utter and every choice we make is intricately intertwined with the language that guides our thoughts. Are we, in essence, linguistic architects of our ethical landscapes? Join me as we seek answers, embrace uncertainties, and unravel the mysteries of how languages might indeed influence how we make moral decisions. Have you ever stopped to ponder the immense power of words? Language isn't just a means of communication. It's a portal that opens up new dimensions of thought. As the great philosophers Sapir and Whorf articulated, language isn't a passive vessel. It's an active force that shapes the contours of our mental landscapes. Picture it as a painter's brush, coloring the canvas of our cognition. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever noticed how different languages can shape the way we perceive reality? For instance, consider the intriguing concept of time. Some languages, like English, are rich with terms that define time in a linear fashion. Past, present, and future are distinct categories. But what about languages that don't have such clear-cut divisions? Imagine speaking a language like Hopi, a Native American language, which views time as cyclical rather than linear. Their linguistic structure encourages a different perception of time's passage. It's as if our language molds our perception, leading us to view time as either a flowing river or a series of interconnected loops. This phenomenon extends beyond time. It extends to our very thoughts on morality and ethics. Consider the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which suggests that our language influences how we categorize and understand the world. Imagine a language that has specific words to describe subtle shades of ethical dilemmas. Could that shape the way we think about morality? Now, Let's connect this to our daily lives. Have you ever felt a certain emotion more intensely when expressing it in your native language? Have you noticed that sometimes when you speak a different language, you might not feel the same depth of emotion? This is the beauty of the moral foreign language effect. Studies have shown that speaking a foreign language can actually distance us emotionally from certain decisions and judgments. It's as if the language itself creates a protective layer, shielding us from the full impact of our choices. The emotions that are often intertwined with our native language somehow become less potent when we speak in a different tongue. Let's begin by delving into the idea that language is not just a tool of communication, it's a living entity that influences our moral judgments. Think about it. When we communicate, we're not just sharing information, we're navigating the intricate terrain of ethics and values. Have you ever had a passionate ethical debate with someone? Perhaps it was about a sensitive topic like animal rights or social justice. Now, consider this. If you were conducting that debate in a language other than your native tongue, would your arguments and emotions be as intense? The research suggests that the answer might be no. Speaking a foreign language often leads to a certain level of emotional detachment when discussing moral issues. It's like a veil descends between you and the intensity of the argument. But why does this happen? One theory, my fellow thinkers, is that foreign languages require more cognitive effort. When we're concentrating on expressing ourselves accurately, we might not be as emotionally invested in the debate. It's as if our brain is balancing the scales between linguistic precision and emotional fervor. Now, let's ponder something truly fascinating. Do you believe that the language you speak can affect your moral decisions? Could it be that speaking a different language alters the way we perceive right and wrong? Consider this scenario. You're faced with a moral dilemma, one that tugs at the very core of your beliefs. Now imagine making that decision in a language you're not completely fluent in. Studies have shown that people often make more utilitarian choices when thinking in a foreign language. They become more focused on the outcome, less swayed by emotions. Let's take an example we can all relate to. Driving. Imagine you're at an intersection and you witness a minor accident. In your native language, you might be more inclined to blame one of the drivers and express your anger. But what if you're in a foreign country, and the incident occurs while you're still learning the local language? In such a situation, you might find yourself more detached, evaluating the incident more objectively, and focusing on practical solutions rather than assigning blame. It's as if the language you speak influences not only your emotions, but also your moral stance. So, my fellow explorers of the mind, let's ponder these questions together. Could it be that language shapes our moral compass more than we realize? Does the way we articulate our values and beliefs influence the very essence of our ethical decisions? Picture this: the power of words shaping not just our thoughts, but the very world we perceive. This concept, dear thinkers, is at the heart of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, an idea that has ignited debates and kindled the flames of curiosity for decades. But what exactly is the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? In its essence, it proposes that language doesn't merely express our thoughts, it shapes them, molds them into unique patterns that influence how we perceive reality. This notion gives rise to a profound question. Can language sculpt the landscape of our moral compass? Consider this. When you're expressing a moral stance, are you simply conveying your thoughts, or is the language you use subtly guiding the very contours of your ethical beliefs? Let's explore the philosophical underpinnings of this hypothesis. The hypothesis suggests that different languages offer distinct lenses through which we view the world. For instance, if a language has no specific word for a certain concept, does that concept hold the same weight in the minds of its speakers? Or does the absence of that word affect the very significance of the idea itself? Let's journey into the realm of examples, fellow seekers. Imagine a language that doesn't have a word for greed. Does this mean that the concept of greed is less prevalent or understood in that culture? Or could it be that the absence of a linguistic label somehow diminishes the moral weight of the concept? Now let's embark on a captivating voyage to explore how this hypothesis intertwines with the intricacies of morality. Imagine a language where the distinction between right and wrong is subtly blurred. Could this linguistic ambiguity seep into the ethical fabric of that society, leading to a more nuanced approach to moral dilemmas? Consider another facet: metaphors. Metaphors have a remarkable power to influence our understanding of abstract concepts, including morality. Take, for instance, the common metaphor of morality is cleanliness. In this metaphor, immoral actions are dirty and virtuous deeds are clean. Now think about the implications. If a language heavily employs such metaphors, does it frame our moral judgments in terms of cleanliness and filth? Could this linguistic inclination sway us to associate moral purity with physical cleanliness, affecting how we perceive and respond to ethical choices? Let's ponder together, fellow thinkers. Can the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis guide our ethical compass, subtly nudging us toward certain moral perspectives based on the language we use? Is it possible that the metaphors embedded in our language weave a tapestry of moral values that influences our decisions without our conscious awareness? Imagine a world where the words you select not only express your thoughts, but subtly alter the very shades of morality itself. As we traverse the labyrinth of linguistic choices, we discover that the words we opt for have the potential to shape the ethical landscapes we navigate. Let's contemplate a classic ethical dilemma: a train hurtling toward 5 people tied to a track with no means to stop it. Here's the twist. Would you actively divert the train onto another track, sacrificing 1 life to save 5? Now, imagine framing this scenario with different words. Could the linguistic nuances influence your moral judgment? Let's ponder this together, dear thinkers. If we describe the action as sacrificing 1 life, does it evoke a different emotional response compared to redirecting the train? Do these word choices subtly nudge us toward a particular moral stance without us even realizing it? Now, let's journey into the realm of moral dilemmas. Consider a scenario where you're faced with a decision, perhaps to disclose a coworker's mistake. How does the language you use to describe the situation influence your ethical judgment? Could the words you select shape the perceived severity of the moral violation? Picture this. Your words could paint a picture of wrongdoing that is either a minor hiccup or a major transgression. Could linguistic subtleties sway your ethical compass toward a more lenient or severe judgment, all based on the words you choose to narrate the dilemma? But the intrigue doesn't end here, fellow seekers. Let's journey into the world of cultural and linguistic diversity. In some languages, a single word might encapsulate a moral concept that takes a sentence to express in another language. Can this linguistic efficiency affect how we comprehend and prioritize ethical values? Let's take a practical example. Imagine a language where the concept of integrity is succinctly captured in a single word, whereas in another language, it requires an elaborate explanation. Could this linguistic contrast lead to a variance in the importance attached to integrity between these two cultures? As we explore the intricate interplay between language and morality, let's reflect on the profound notion that our linguistic choices extend beyond mere communication. They weave a tapestry of values and distinctions that guide us through the labyrinth of ethical decisions. So, dear seekers, are we unwittingly allowing language to cast its spell on our ethical judgments? Are the words we choose painting our moral canvas in ways we might not fully comprehend? The exploration of these questions leads us to the very core of what shapes our values and actions. Imagine, if you will, a laboratory where keen minds and diligent hearts unravel the mysteries of human behavior. Here, the marriage of language and morality is examined under the microscope of empirical research. How do these studies paint the canvas of our understanding? Let us contemplate a remarkable experiment. Participants are presented with a moral dilemma framed in distinct linguistic garbs. One version describes a scenario as a dilemma, while the other as a choice. Can you fathom how this simple alteration of words might sway the participants' moral inclinations? Ah, the human mind, a tapestry of subtleties. The study's findings illuminate that when the scenario is framed as a dilemma, participants lean toward making more utilitarian choices, perhaps focusing on the greater good. But when labeled as a choice, their decisions tend to lean towards a deontological perspective, placing emphasis on moral rules and duties. Picture this. Your choice might not only be guided by your inner moral compass, but subtly nudged by the linguistic clothes it wears. Are we then marionettes in the theater of language, swaying to the strings of words in ways we scarcely comprehend? But hold your thoughts, my friends, for another riveting study beckons us. This time, researchers explore how linguistic framing influences our perception of intent. Imagine 2 individuals. The first accidentally bumps into you, the second does so intentionally. How does the language used to describe these incidents color your moral judgments? Let's journey through the corridors of the mind. The study reveals that when an action is depicted with intentionality, we're more inclined to assign moral blame. But when the action is presented as accidental, our judgment softens. Can you sense the profound implications? Words not only paint pictures, but shade the colors of morality too. Now, dear seekers of truth, let us ponder the intriguing notion of cultural variation. Could different linguistic structures across cultures influence how we perceive moral dilemmas? A study embarked upon this very question, delving into the labyrinth of cultural perspectives. Picture this. In a culture where actions are often described using passive voice, the participants were found to be more lenient in assigning blame. Conversely, in a culture with a more active voice orientation, blame was assigned more rigorously. Are these linguistic nuances weaving a tapestry of ethical judgment? As we delve into the empirical tapestry, we must pause to reflect on the captivating dance between the abstract realm of philosophy and the empirical landscapes of science. Can we find harmony in these seemingly contrasting domains? Do their findings intertwine to offer us a more comprehensive understanding of the intricate connection between language and morality? So, dear seekers, as we navigate the empirical currents of research, remember that our words are not just tools of expression, but keys to the very chambers of our moral reasoning. Are we prepared to acknowledge the subtle influence of language on our ethical judgments? Are we prepared to unveil the mysteries that empirical studies are unraveling? Our minds are like vessels sailing the seas of thoughts and perceptions. The intriguing case study I present to you delves into how the language we speak, our linguistic vessel, might navigate these waters in curious ways. Picture this: a moral dilemma presented to bilingual individuals in their native and second languages. Can you sense the intrigue? The winds of linguistic diversity carry whispers of insight. The study reveals that when confronted with moral dilemmas in a foreign language, the participants often made decisions that leaned towards deontological ethics, actions guided by moral rules, rather than utilitarian ethics which focus on the greater good. But let us not be hasty, my fellow travelers. Let us explore the labyrinthine nuances that this study unveils. Why might moral judgments differ when conversing in a language that is not our linguistic cradle? Imagine that you find yourself conversing in a foreign tongue. A subtle shift occurs. The psychological distance from the moral dilemma deepens. The foreign language, a veil that obscures the immediacy of the situation, allowing a more detached and reflective perspective. In this detachment, a profound transformation takes place. Deontological ethical perspectives seem to bloom. Could it be that the linguistic cocoon shields us from the emotional immediacy, allowing a clearer view of moral rules and duties? A dance between linguistic garments and the tapestry of our ethical souls. Picture this: a bridge between two worlds, the native and the foreign. On this bridge, ethical judgments seem to waltz to the rhythms of linguistic melodies. The study beckons us to question if this shift is an homage to the foreign language itself, or an intricate interplay of psychology and culture. Now, dear seekers of truth, let us dive into the depths of introspection. When we embrace a foreign language, do we unknowingly step into a realm where the moral landscapes shift? Does the language itself become an architect, constructing a new stage upon which our ethical narratives unfold? But let us not forget the power of context, a breeze that whispers through this captivating study. When the participants faced the dilemmas in their native tongue, utilitarian ethics often took the lead. Is this a sign that the roots of our moral compass remain steadfast, even when the linguistic currents change? As we wander through this case study's revelations, let us embrace the notion that languages are not just vessels for communication, but conduits for the very essence of our being. Could it be that when we converse in foreign languages, we glimpse the reflection of our moral selves in a different cultural mirror? As we conclude this chapter of our journey, let us reflect upon the profound connection between linguistic attire and the choices we make. Can a foreign language, like a mask, unveil hidden facets of our ethical souls? Can it remind us that the threads of morality, woven by language, are as intricate as they are awe-inspiring? Imagine this. You stand at the crossroads of cultural landscapes, where languages bloom like wildflowers, each carrying its own fragrance of wisdom. As we navigate this territory, we find that cultures sculpt not only how we communicate, but also how we contemplate our moral compass. Our language is like a lens that captures the hues and shades of our moral ideals. A single word can encapsulate a universe of values, and its connotations can ripple through the fabric of our decisions. Think of words like justice, duty, or harmony. How do they resonate across different cultures? A fascinating revelation emerges from the pages of Insight. Cultural backgrounds appear to sway our moral inclinations. In some cultures, the focus might be on individual rights and personal autonomy, while in others, the community's well-being takes center stage. Can you feel the dance of values across cultures? Let us wander into a thought-provoking realm. Imagine expressing regret in different languages. In English, "I'm sorry" might suffice, yet in Japanese, "gomenasai" carries a deeper weight. This linguistic divergence mirrors the varying degrees of responsibility and cultural dynamics intertwined with apologies. Now, let us navigate the labyrinth of linguistic relativity, a theory suggesting that the structure of language influences its speaker's worldview. As we gaze upon different tongues, can we fathom the exquisite interplay between the words we utter and the realities we perceive? Picture this. A concept in one language might possess no direct translation in another. The linguistic river flows through cultural valleys, carving meanings unique to each culture's contours. As we stand on this bridge, ponder this. Do these linguistic gaps birth new realms of moral possibilities or restrict our ethical horizons? An enchanting question emerges. How does the very structure of a language shape the way we perceive good and evil? Does the abundance of moral vocabulary in a language signify a heightened awareness of ethical nuances, or do fewer words anchor us to core moral principles? My fellow travelers, as we embrace the symphony of linguistic and cultural diversity, let us remember that each culture is a masterpiece, painted with strokes of history and illuminated by the lanterns of tradition. Can we see how the interwoven stories of culture and language guide our moral compasses? But let us not be ensnared by the enchantment of absolutes. Just as cultures transform over time, so too do languages. They ripple and evolve, carrying new meanings and expressions. How does this metamorphosis influence our moral narratives? And now, dear seekers of truth, let us bask in introspection. When we converse across cultures, do we merely exchange words, or do we enter realms where the boundaries of right and wrong may take on new shades? Are our moral sensibilities a bridge between the languages we speak and the cultures we embrace? As we prepare to bid adieu to this journey, let us carry with us the wisdom that our moral language is not a mere reflection of our inner selves. It is a bridge that unites our hearts, cultures, and shared human experience. Ah, my fellow seekers of wisdom, here we stand at the crossroads of our journey. A journey that has navigated the intricate tapestry woven by language, morality, culture, and the human spirit. As we draw the curtains on this odyssey, let us reflect upon the vast landscapes of thought we have traversed. Our expedition into the realm of language and morality has been nothing short of illuminating. We've explored the mysterious dance between words and ethics, delving into the depths of cognitive processes that shape our moral compass. We've pondered the delicate balance between language's power to shape reality and its vulnerability to misinterpretation. Words, dear friends, are like seeds. They hold the potential to blossom into gardens of understanding or wither in the arid soil of misunderstanding. Imagine this. You stand upon the precipice of a moral dilemma, words echoing in your mind, each offering a pathway of action. Which words shall you heed? Which ethical whispers shall guide you through the labyrinth of choices? Our journey has urged us to heed those whispers with discernment. But beyond the intricacies of language, our voyage has taken us to the shores of culture, an enchanting realm where customs, beliefs, and values converge. We've witnessed how language dances in the embrace of culture, adorned with the hues of tradition and history. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis beckoned us to ponder whether the structure of our language influences the scope of our moral vision. A thought-provoking riddle indeed. Do our words shape the limits of our ethical universe, or do they serve as windows to perceive its vastness? Ethical distinctions, dear seekers, have kindled our intellectual hearth. We've glimpsed the fine threads that weave right and wrong into the fabric of our moral tapestry. Yet, in a world brimming with perspectives, how do we nurture empathy for those whose tapestries differ? And then there's empirical research, the torch illuminating the hidden recesses of our minds. The light it cast revealed the subtle dance between language and moral decisions, a dance that often waltzes beyond the threshold of our conscious awareness. Our journey even led us across the linguistic bridges that span the rivers of foreign languages. We embarked on a quest to unravel whether our ethical judgments sway as we traverse those bridges. Can you feel the echoes of your ethical musings resounding across these bridges? And finally, we stood amidst the crossroads of cultural and linguistic nuances. Here, we marveled at the magnificent diversity that enriches our moral language, allowing us to express the subtleties of virtue and vice in kaleidoscopic ways. And now, as our journey draws to a gentle close, let us reflect on the trail of wisdom we've left behind. With each step, we've sought not just knowledge, but the kindling of introspection, the spark that ignites the lanterns of our souls. As we stand here, my friends, let us remember that our journey through language and morality is not confined to these episodes. It is a journey that unfolds with each word we speak, each choice we make, and each bridge we cross in understanding. And so I invite you to carry this flame of inquiry with you, to let it guide your steps as you navigate the crossroads of life. As you ponder ethical dilemmas, as you converse across cultures, as you choose your words and craft your sentences, may you find solace in the awareness that language and morality dance eternally. My fellow seekers, as we part ways at the culmination of this journey, remember that you are the authors of your narratives, the architects of your ethical landscapes. May the symphony of language and morality be a harmonious tune in the orchestra of your existence. As our journey together reaches its serene finale, let us bask in the gentle embrace of reflection. The trails of thought we've traversed have led us to an intimate communion with the profound interplay between language and morality. Imagine, my dear voyagers of intellect, a world without language, a realm where words do not weave the tapestry of expression. How then would the symphony of our souls find resonance in the hearts of others? Language, you see, is the bridge that unites minds across the expanses of time and space. It is the vessel that carries the whispers of our intentions, the echoes of our emotions, and the ripples of our moral dilemmas. We've ventured deep into the labyrinthine corridors of cognitive processes, discovering how words sculpt the contours of our ethical musings. Our thoughts, ever evolving, are like clay in the hands of a sculptor, shaped by the words we choose to embody them. And as we pondered the fascinating link between language and morality, we stumbled upon the intricate dance between ethics and culture. Just as the seasons change, so do the moral landscapes shift across the globe. Can you sense the rhythm of cultural diversity in the cadence of moral expressions? The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, a tantalizing enigma, beckoned us to contemplate whether our linguistic shades shape the hues of our moral canvas. Do our words merely mirror reality, or do they paint it in colors unseen? Can you perceive the world differently by embracing diverse linguistic palettes? Ethical distinctions emerged as stars in our intellectual firmament, guiding our moral voyages. The constellations of right and wrong, bathed in the light of reason and compassion, have illuminated the sea of choices before us. Empirical research, the lantern lighting the caves of our minds, revealed the subtle whispers that guide our moral compass. Can you feel the currents of language and morality flowing beneath the conscious surface of your decisions? And our exploration of ethical judgments in foreign tongues, a reminder that the rivers of language converge and diverge, shaping the banks of understanding. Do you find your ethical thoughts navigating the currents of translation, adapting to the ebb and flow of linguistic nuances? We gazed upon the rich mosaic of cultural and linguistic nuances, where words are chameleons, adapting to the landscapes of value systems and norms. Have you felt the resonance of virtue and vice echoing in different tongues, painting intricate portraits of human ethics? And now, my fellow seekers of enlightenment, as we bid adieu to this voyage, let us carry the lantern of awareness that language and morality are inseparable companions, forever entwined in the dance of human experience. As you traverse the roads of life, remember that your words hold the power to uplift, to connect, to bridge the gaps of misunderstanding. Choose them wisely, for they are the beacons that light the way through the labyrinth of existence. And so, my cherished companions, as our paths diverge from this shared journey, may you find solace in the wisdom that language is not just a tool, but a living embodiment of our collective consciousness. As you articulate your thoughts, as you seek the shores of moral clarity, may your words be guided by empathy, your choices by introspection, and your hearts by the enduring quest for truth. Until our spirits converge once again in the realm of contemplation, may your days be adorned with serenity, your nights with dreams woven from the threads of curiosity. By clicking that subscribe button below, you'll become a cherished member of our community, an explorer of thoughts, a connoisseur of ideas. And as you bask in the glow of our future explorations, you'll be among the first to embark on new intellectual voyages. A simple like is like a nod of approval, an acknowledgement that the waves of wisdom we've shared have resonated with your intellectual compass. It's a small gesture, but one that speaks volumes in the language of appreciation. And if our odyssey has kindled a light of insight within you, consider sharing this video with kindred spirits, those who seek the solace of thought-provoking reflections and the embrace of philosophical discourse. By subscribing, liking, and sharing, you're not just engaging with our content, but you're extending an invitation to others to join our intellectual symposium, a gathering where the flames of curiosity are nurtured and the embers of understanding burn ever brighter. Farewell, my fellow travelers. May the currents of knowledge and the zephyrs of wisdom forever carry you onward.